Welcome back to FilmMaster Reviews. I'm Adam J. With the recent release of Wonder Woman 1984, I started looking back at the films released by the DCEU, and I thought it would be fun to go back and rank them all. Everyone who knows me knows I couldn't stand Wonder Woman 1984, but where does it actually stack up with the rest of these films that are often considered to be a mixed bag? Well, let's take a look and find out. Here's my official ranking of the DCEU films with Wonder Woman 84. Coming in at number 9 is Justice League, or as many people are now calling it, Justice League. Justice League is one of the messiest films I have ever seen, and if you know anything about the behind-the-scenes drama regarding the film, it's really not hard to see why at all. Warner Brothers used a tragedy in Zack Snyder's life as an excuse to make him step down as director. The studios then hired Joss Whedon to quote-unquote fix their movie, wasted a ton of money on extensive reshoots, and turned out a 2-hour-long turd of a film that just reeked of studio meddling from start to finish. Joss Whedon has made some good films in the past, but he was not the right choice to take over for Zack Snyder. These two directors could not be more different stylistically. It resulted in a film that clashed hard with the vision that Snyder had envisioned for the universe. Honestly, it completely ignored most of the plot points that Snyder had set up in the other films. And to give you an idea of just how obvious the reshoots were, in the beginning of the film, at the start of the film, Batman is taking down some parademon motherfucker, and he's completely shaven. He's in Alaska the very next day, in what is supposed to be the very next day. The next day! And he has a full beard. That is how bad the reshoots were. The villain, Steppenwolf, is the worst villain in the DCU by far. Pretty much all of his motivations, if he had any to begin with, were left on the cutting room floor. The cast does their best, but it's obvious this was not the movie they signed up for. I'm really hoping Zack Snyder knocks it out of the park in March with his cut of the film, and we can get the Justice League movie that we all deserve. At number 8 for me is, unfortunately, Wonder Woman 1984. There are reasons I would still put this over Justice League. Well, a reason. Really, it's just Cheetah. Like, honestly, I really like that character. And I feel like Kristen Wiig's performance was so good, it was deserving of a much better movie. Other than that, though, that's really the only thing keeping this above Justice League right now. As much as I do like Gal Gadot and Chris Pine in the film, watching them try to work through this muddled, nonsensical, and utterly ridiculous script just made me wish I was watching the first movie again. You know, a good Wonder Woman movie. There's about 1 million plot holes regarding the Dreamstone and Maxwell Lord. Maxwell Lord is a god-awful villain just on his own, and there's hardly any Wonder Woman action. Now, this would not bother me if the story was at least compelling, but it's not. This is a boring-ass movie for most of its runtime. The White House scene was cool, but as I thought about it, I realized the only reason I liked that scene was because Cheetah showed up eventually. If it wasn't for her, that scene would be useless to me. And don't even get me started on the ramifications of Steve Trevor being resurrected into some other dude's body, Quantum Leap style. I have no idea what the hell Patty Jenkins was thinking with this film, but if she really is doing the third movie, as we've been hearing, I just hope she lets someone else write the next one. That's all I gotta say. Coming in at number 7 for me is Suicide Squad. Oh, I'm sorry. The Academy Award winning Suicide Squad. Now, full disclosure, folks, I fucking love Suicide Squad. Yes, I said it. I love the camaraderie between the cast members. I thought most of them pulled in great performances, save for Jared Leto, who was fucking terrible. I liked the action, and I liked the style of the film and how it tried to be something different. That being said, I fully understand it's a stupid fucking movie. Not as stupid as the Dreamstone bullshit in Wonder Woman 84, but stupid nonetheless. The Suicide Squad is only in the mess they're in because Amanda Waller is a fucking idiot. Jared Leto's Joker is awful. Not disputing this at all. But whenever I watch this film, I always have a blast with it. I can't deny that. I can't deny that I enjoy this film despite its messy plot and off-the-wall structure. And again, a lot of this really has to do with the cast. Apparently, they all became very good friends on the set of the film, and that shows on the screen. They all have great chemistry with one another. Their humor and banter really works for me. Loved Will Smith as Deadshot, loved Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, loved Joel Kinnaman as Rick Flag. Good chemistry between actors can make even the most bland movie enjoyable. For example, I don't consider Bad Boys or Bad Boys 2 to be good movies. I don't. I think the third one's a great movie, but the first two I don't think are good movies. However, what makes them watchable for me is the chemistry between Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. They carry those films, and they are, admittedly, very funny in them. The stories around them in those first two films suck, but they are really good. And honestly, I feel the same way about Suicide Squad. And yeah, the movie has some weird song choices too that can be incredibly distracting, but I have to admit that I liked the songs they chose, so hearing them doesn't really elicit anger from me. Yes, I understand it's not a great film by any means, but I have a blast every time I watch it, and that's all that really matters to me. At number 6 for me is Shazam. Now, before anyone gets on my ass, yes, I do really like this movie. But the fact remains that, as much as I do really like this one, it's the one I've probably gone back to the least. And I think a lot of this has to do with the villain. Yes, the villains in the DCEU are a mixed bag to begin with, but the crime of the villain in Shazam is that he's so forgettable. I can never even remember his name. He's like that darky elf motherfucker from Thor the Dark World. I've seen this movie maybe 3 times since it came out, and while it is a very fun and heartwarming film, the villain is just beyond forgettable, and that brings the movie down for me a bit. A hero is only as interesting as the villain, and the villain they have here is just so lifeless. Hold on a second. I gotta IMDb this. Give me... What the fuck's his name? IMDb. Okay. It's Shazam. Okay. Alright. Dr. Savannah. Dr. Savannah. That's his name. Okay. It doesn't matter, I'm gonna forget him in a minute. But aside from that, the movie is awesome. The main character is a ton of fun. Zachary Levi knocks it out of the fucking park in this. The final battle is honestly one of the most fun moments in the DCU. And the film just has this genuinely warm center to it. I love the themes of family in this movie and Billy Batson's relationship with his foster siblings. All of that I felt was very well handled. Again, this is a very good movie and I highly recommend it, so please don't let its placement on this list fool you. Coming at number 5 for me is Aquaman. Now, here's the thing. Before the DCU, let's be honest with ourselves, Aquaman was kind of seen as a joke. The general consensus of Aquaman was, he talks to fish, what a pussy. But Jason Momoa in Aquaman showed even the harshest naysayers, myself included, that this character could be entirely badass. Yeah, he showed up in Justice League before this, but as much as I liked him there too, he was incredibly underutilized. Hell, he didn't even show up to help the team in that film until it was convenient for the plot. But here, he finally got his own movie, he got an updated version of his classic suit, he kicked the shit out of his brother, and we actually got a pretty cool interpretation of Atlantis. I know it's cool because Dolph Lundgren's in it, and as we all know, Dolph Lundgren automatically makes everything much cooler. Because he will break you. That's just kind of who he is. Tamara Morrison and Nicole Kidman do great as Aquaman's parents, and yes, before anyone gets on my ass about it, let's also address the elephant in the room. Do I hate Amber Heard? As an actress? No. I think she has a fair amount of talent and she does a very good job as Mira. As a person? Yeah, fuck this bitch. She's a fucking psycho. Justice for Johnny, bitches. And honestly, that's all I'm gonna say on the matter. Let's move on. The CGI in this film could have been better in certain areas, and some things could have been cut for time to make way for more important things. I do admit this. The one thing in the film that really kind of bugs me was that my favorite character in the film was underutilized. They got a really great actor to play Black Manta, and this movie does a very good job setting him up, but when he becomes Black Manta, they kind of do him dirty. He's such a cool character, you understand exactly why he wants to kill Aquaman, and he doesn't really get a lot of screen time. Once he becomes Black Manta, he gets one small action scene and that's it. I'm sorry, I really think we deserved more than one action scene with this guy. Still, despite its shortcomings, Aquaman is a damn fine DC film and a step in the right direction for the character. At number 4 for me is Birds of Prey. The reason this one is so high is really due to 2 specific aspects. Its sense of humor and its glorious direction. Kathy Yan directed the shit out of this movie, and clearly has a style all her own. The humor is on point throughout the entire film. I'm laughing through most of it whenever I watch it. Much like Suicide Squad, I did like the cast camaraderie once they were all together. Margot Robbie, Journey Smollett, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead all do great jobs in their roles. Ewan McGregor is having the time of his life playing the villain. The story itself is very basic, but it's done in such a unique and outlandish style that it's kind of hard not to enjoy it. I mean, yeah, it's basically just Snatch with DC characters, but it's a fun version of Snatch with DC characters, I'll allow it. The action sequences with Harley Quinn are some of the best in the DCEU, or really in any comic book film for that matter. The showdown in the police station, the big breakout fight at the carnival at the end, all of it was fantastic. There were a few elements that didn't really do it for me. I didn't really care for Renee Montoya or Victor Zsasz, to be honest, but they in no way ruined the movie for me. I understand that fans of the comics may hate this one, but I really haven't read them, so I can only judge this as a film. As a film, it may not be the best film in the DCEU, but I will say this, it was the most fun for me. At number 3 for me is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Now, please note when I mention this movie, the Ultimate Edition is the only version that exists to me. If I was talking about the version that was released in theaters, that would be at the very bottom of this list. I am not even kidding. When I first saw the original cut in theaters, I was kind of mad because I could see seeds of greatness within the film, but it felt like so much was missing and the editing was just too atrocious for words. The ultimate cut that was later released with 30 minutes of the damn movie added back into it was the movie I wanted. Not without a couple flaws, but damn impressive nonetheless. Ben Affleck kills it as Batman, as I always knew he would. I was one of the only people in my group of friends willing to give him a chance, and I was so happy when he crushed it. People have complained that Batman kills in this movie, and that the movie is saying that, oh, it's okay for Batman to kill. No, the movie is saying it's not okay for Batman to kill. It is literally the point of his character development in this movie. That is a bullshit criticism, folks. It was interesting to see a Batman who'd finally been pushed over the edge after doing this for 20 years and realizing that his way of doing things just wasn't getting the job done anymore. And also, to the people saying that Batman doesn't kill, yeah, because it's not like your precious Christian Bale killed Harvey Dent or anything. Oh, wait. Yeah, he did that. In the movie you all worship, too. Oh, yeah, tough break, guys. Yes, there are things in the movie that don't work, but Ben Affleck as Batman is sure as shit not one of them. I'm really not a fan of Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. He was a little too out there for me, but I do appreciate him trying something new. And I also have to admit, his motives and means of turning the heroes against each other made a lot more goddamn sense in the Ultimate Cut. I mean, like, literally, there's an entire subplot that was cut from the film that literally explained the entire thing. Like, I don't know how the fuck that was cut from the film originally. Warner Brothers, you are fucking idiots. I don't really hate the infamous Martha scene, as I understand what Zack Snyder was going for with it, but I can understand the frustrations with it. I really did like the scene with Pa Kent talking to Clark on the mountain, but I felt like it should have been in a different part of the film. Both of these are good scenes in their own, but I felt like they needed touch-ups for context, in my opinion. The way Zack Snyder took a more real-world approach with this story, with the court hearings and the heroes actually having consequences for their actions, was very interesting. It was well-intentioned and well done in certain areas. Even doing the right thing can have drastic consequences, and that was a great theme that this film explored. Also, Wonder Woman's appearance in the film is badass no matter how many times I see it. So yes, not everything in this film works, but I've really grown to love it. I really flip-flopped on the top 2 a lot when making this list. It was really hard because I adore both of these movies for completely different reasons. I always go back and forth in my head about which one is better, but I had to choose either way, and much like the best films of the year list I just made, there is a difference between what I think is technically the better film and what is my favorite. So, number 2 is Wonder Woman. After her appearance in BVS, Patty Jenkins delivered a beautifully told origin story for our favorite Amazonian princess. Gal Gadot was a perfect Wonder Woman. The moments with her and Chris Pine are beautiful, heartwarming, and endearing. The moments of her being brought into this new world and experiencing not just the wars of man, but just simple things like dresses and ice cream, it really added to her character and made her so lovable. Like, if you don't fall in love with her character in this film, I think there's something wrong with you. The action is superb. The no man's land scene is one of the most badass moments I have ever witnessed. Not just in a comic book film, but any film in general. It is so awesome, to the way it's presented, to the way it's shot, to the way it's acted. It's just a perfect scene. The only thing in this movie that I feel could have been done better were the villains. Don't get me wrong, I liked Dr. Poison, but I found her very underutilized as a villain, kind of like the way Black Manta was in Aquaman. I know a lot of people have problems with the third act of the film, and even Patty Jenkins admitted it wasn't the ending she wanted, but honestly, it's never bothered me. I thought the climax of this movie was entirely badass. Ares isn't that interesting of a final antagonist, I will admit that, but he was built up the entire movie by Diana, so it's not like he just came out of nowhere as a bullshit final boss. And personally, I thought having someone like David Thewlis play him was a perfect move. He's the god of war, yet he's hiding in plain sight as the most unassuming person you can imagine. That's not bad writing, that's fucking genius. So yeah, despite people's issues with the third act, it never bothered me. Wonder Woman is a damn near perfect movie in my opinion. And while I can concede that it may be the best DCEU film, it still isn't my favorite. And of course, coming in at number 1 for me is Man of Steel. Yes, I'm one of those people. Bring the hate mail, bitches. Here's the thing. For as much as I do love Wonder Woman, as I just said, I realized making this list that if you were to put Wonder Woman and Man of Steel in front of me, and you asked which one I'd rather watch, Man of Steel is going to win out every time. I love this movie. I have loved this movie since I saw it in theaters back in 2013, and I loved it the other night when I watched it on Blu-ray. I loved how this film reimagined Superman for a new generation as a man simply trying to find his place in the universe, ultimately having to choose between his heritage and the world he calls home. Zod, played brilliantly by Michael Shannon, is my favorite villain in the DCEU, a Kryptonian bred from birth for war to serve Krypton and ensure the survival of its people. Yes, Zod could have easily just colonized Mars, but given his vendetta against Jor-El, that really wouldn't have made any sense. He wants to make Clark choose between Clark's heritage and the world he loves, even if he knows what Clark's choice is gonna be. He wants to make Jor-El's son suffer, and if he has a chance to have his cake and eat it too, colonize a new Krypton while also making Clark suffer, he's gonna take that. It speaks to not only his resolve, but also his ego. Bear in mind, he doesn't hate humans because they are humans. He hates humans because Clark loves them. It's a by proxy thing. I'm really not sure why this was hard to comprehend for some, but apparently it was. Yes, there's a ton of destruction, but guys, if an alien invasion happens, there's gonna be a lot of fucking destruction. I'm just putting that out there. I don't care how superhuman he is. Realistically, in this type of situation, Superman is not going to be able to save everyone. People are going to die in real fucking life.
Because guess what, Rob? That's real fucking life. Y'all arguing about something that is fictitious that ain't never gonna fucking happen.
Danny, I fucking love you, man. In addition, while we're on the subject, I really hate the bullshit generalization that Clark never saves anybody in this film. You know, because I guess the bus full of kids don't count. Or his mother. Or, you know, the entire human race. Yeah, okay, whatever you say. I mean, not like he sacrificed the only link to his heritage to save a family or anything. You know, there was that. I don't know. Amy Adams was a great Lois Lane, one who actually figures out Clark's identity very early on. Wow, what a fucking concept! It's almost like they wanted to make this character intelligent or something. Kevin Costner, Diane Lane, and Russell Crowe are all awesome in this film. The cast is perfect. The action is the best I've seen in the DCEU, rivaled only by the No Man's Land scene in Wonder Woman. The effects are great. The story is very well done, despite what people may think about it, and it's hard for me to think of anything that I don't love about the film. It was the Superman movie I always wanted, and I look forward to enjoying it many years down the line. Henry Cavill is my Superman, and I've been sitting here for years, hoping against hope that we would finally get a Man of Steel 2. I doubt it will ever fucking happen. I seriously doubt it. But if it does happen, I'm there. If you hate this movie, you know what? That's entirely your loss as far as I'm concerned. Man of Steel fucking rocks. So how would you rank the DCEU? Please let me know in the comments, and please subscribe if you'd like to see more.